So if you're a big Melania Trump fan, which I am not, I think she is an awful human being. I think she's just as bad as Donald Trump, maybe even worse because she enables him. And if you haven't bought her book, maybe you've bought her Christmas ornaments that cost about $2 to make in China, and she's selling them for $90. But this was Melania Trump during Christmas, caught on audio, and she wasn't talking about selling her ornaments here. She was actually criticizing Christmas. I mean, this is Melania Trump who's selling all this Christmas crap. Have a listen to her.
Where I am, I'm working like a my ass.
I know.
Christmas stuff that, who gives a about Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it, right?
Yeah, but 100%. You have no choice.
And then I do it, and I say that I'm working on Christmas, planning for the Christmas, and they said, oh, what about the children, that they were separated? Give me a break.
If you haven't bought her book, it's interesting because Melania is complaining about Christmas, but yet she has no problem going on Fox News, selling her stupid, crappy $90 Christmas ornaments, being the grifter that she is. And by the way, I guess some people are calling her a part-time first lady. She's not a first lady. She's the last lady. She's not the first lady. Melania Trump is the last lady. She is despicable. All she cares about is selling her crap and selling her book and grifting like so many others within the Trump family. She's no different than Donald Trump. Maybe she hasn't sexually abused anybody, but she's no different than Donald Trump in the aspect of Donald Trump selling his Bibles, can't name one passage in the Bible. Oh, it's my favorite book. Really, Mr. President? Can you name us a passage? Oh, no, that's too personal. Because the guy literally hasn't read one passage in the book. How's he gonna remember one? Former President Donald Trump, in a series of media posts on Christmas Day, discussed a lot of issues, including suggesting that Canada could become the 51st state of the United States, U.S. interest in Greenland, and made unverified claims about Chinese soldiers operating the Panama Canal. So I thought, ladies and gentlemen, we would take this time in this moment to read to you Donald Trump's message to the American people on Christmas. Are you ready? Here we go. Oh, I love the music. Merry Christmas to all, including to the wonderful soldiers of China who are lovingly but illegally operating the Panama Canal, where we lost 38,000 people in its building 110 years ago. Always making certain that the United States puts its billions of dollars in repair money, but will have absolutely nothing to say about anything. Also to Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, whose citizens' taxes are far too high, but if Canada was to become our 51st state, their taxes would be cut by more than 60%. Their businesses would immediately double in size, and they would militarily be protected like no other country anywhere in the world. Likewise to the people of Greenland, which is needed by the United States for national security purposes, and who want the U.S. to be there, and we will. All right. So there's a lot to dissect there, and that's only part one, by the way. There's going to be part two we're going to be getting to in a moment. Just to fact check the orange orangutan, only 2% of Chinese people identify as Christians. I don't think Donald Trump is aware of that or anything. Canada does have a prime minister, and Panama has full sovereignty over its own territory. Obviously, Donald Trump struggles with the word fact, but then he goes on attacking the left. So now let's go to Donald Trump's Christmas message to the American people on Truth Social, part 2. I love this music, by the way. It really gets me going. Merry Christmas to the radical left lunatics who are constantly trying to obstruct our court system and our elections. Unless I win. Oh, he didn't put that in there. I put that in there. And are always going after the great citizens and patriots of the United States, but in particular, their political opponent, me. They know that their only chance of survival is getting pardons from a man who has absolutely no idea what he's doing. Also to the 37 most violent criminals who killed, raped, plundered like virtually no one before them, but were just given incredibly a pardon by sleepy Joe Biden. I refuse to wish a Merry Christmas to those lucky souls, but instead will say, go to hell. We had the greatest election in the history of our country. A bright light is now shining over the USA, and in 26 days, we will make America great again. Merry Christmas. What a wonderful and positive message by President-elect Cheeto Jesus, the orange orangutan, Donald Trump. So there's a lot to dissect there as well, but I would also say that Donald Trump pardoned murderers and he pardoned rapists. And if you don't believe me, you can look that up for yourself. By the way, if you want to talk about sexual assault and rape, maybe I'm wrong here, but last I checked, Donald Trump is the liable sexual abuser. Donald Trump is the guy who has over 25 women who have accused him of sexual assault or rape. So if you want to talk about rape, maybe Donald Trump should probably be the last person that would talk about that. That's just my personal opinion on it. And of course, you see all these Christmas photos out there, right? The Obamas, a beautiful family. And then you see the normal Christmas photos from the Republicans that all have AR-15s. Russian asset, fails to call out Assad, wants Russia to win the war in the Ukraine. Great pick, right? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a guy who beheads whales, a guy who stages bear murders in Central Park, a guy who spreads medical misinformation constantly throughout his career. Don't even get me started with Pete Hegseth, so on and so forth. Yeah, there are plenty of reasons to vote against these people, just like there were plenty of reasons to vote against this stupid bill that the billionaire president Elon Musk put together, and that's why 38 Republicans voted against that as well. Caroline Levitt, you're an idiot, is what you are. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, speaking of idiots, Donald Trump was speaking at the AmFest Festival in Phoenix. And in that festival, in that speech, boy, he said a lot of crazy things. What a shocker, ladies and gentlemen. This is Donald Trump talking about childhood cancer. And then after this soundbite, I'll explain to you how ridiculous this is.
But did you ever hear numbers like that? Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Likewise, there's been a 25% increase in childhood cancer and a staggering increase in chronic diseases. So together we're going to make America healthy again. We're going to make America healthy. Something's happened. Something bad is happening.
Yeah, because Donald Trump certainly is the poster child of health. Oh, by the way, remember when the Republicans were blaming Democrats for why the cancer research money put forth and upwards of close to $200 million for children's cancer research, and they were blaming Democrats? Oh, well, it turns out it was Rand Paul who voted against it. Last I checked, Rand Paul is not a Democrat and he's not a liberal. He's an a-hole is what he is. It was Rand Paul. So Mr. President-elect orangutan, if you're going to talk about childhood cancer, maybe you should have a conversation with Rand Paul about that. That's scumbag. And the President Musk's comments are continuing to frustrate Donald Trump to the point where he actually talked about it at AmFest yesterday.
And he got over 2,000 units. That's a lot. And they flooded it with Starlink, and it was so good. It saved a lot of lives, so we want to thank him. But no, he's not going to be president, that I can tell you. And I'm safe. You know why? He can't be. He wasn't born in this country.
That's how, and all those idiots at the Klan meeting in Phoenix laughing. President Musk, we got to keep calling him President Musk. We know who's running the shots here, and the GOP knows it as well. It's President Musk, ladies and gentlemen, and Trump, it'll continue to drive him nuts. This is Donald Trump's, you hear about drugs and the drug problem we have in this country, which is a big one. I want you to listen to the orange orangutan and his, I guess you could call it, solving a serious drug problem in this country. This is the genius in what he plans to do.
We spend a lot of money, but it'll be a very small amount of money relatively. We're going to advertise how bad drugs are for you, how bad they are. They ruin your look, they ruin your face, they ruin your skin, and ruin your teeth. If you want to have horrible teeth, take a lot of fentanyl. If you want to have skin that looks so terrible, take fentanyl. We're going to show what these drugs are doing to you. Nobody's done that before, and we're going to do it. And that is, it's going to be like running a political campaign.
Yeah, there you go. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. That's what Donald Trump wants to do. Put an egg in a frying pan. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. If we're talking about skin, then is Donald Trump telling us that he's a drug addict? Because the guy wakes up in the morning and he's probably got the worst skin of anybody. Have you seen him? You see him without makeup? He puts on 8 layers of orange makeup, looking like the orange clown orangutan that he is. That's that's how you solve the problem. I'm sure our youth will care if you run commercials that say, this is your brain on drugs. Great job, Mr. President, Mr. President-elect. I'm sure that'll work. Another wonderful idea. And here's Donald Trump again, talking to the red meat of the Republican Party. Critical race theory and transgenders is like Republican porn. Have a listen to this.
We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools, and we're going to get it out of our schools very fast.
That's what they talk about. They're certainly not talking about healthcare or concepts of a plan. They're not talking about the economy. They're not talking about the real issues facing Americans. He talks about critical race theory, which is basically a non-existent fabrication. It's not happening in our public schools. And again, he talks about transgenders, another playbook from Nancy Mace. It's what the Republican Party stands for today. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And here's Donald Trump again talking about how there's only 2 genders. I mean, the MAGA Republicans love it. They salivate on this stuff.
Under the Trump administration, it will be the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female. Doesn't sound too complicated, does it?
It doesn't sound too good. Listen to those idiots clapping at that Klan rally. You listen to how crazy they are. You hear them cheering. You attack transgenders. You attack the gay community. You attack minorities. They cheer, and it's just like one of his campaign rallies. A bunch of Klan members that were out there for that thing. He did make a mistake, though. I respectfully disagree, Mr. President-elect. Yeah, there is the male and female gender. There's always there's also the liable sexual abusing orange orangutan gender. He forgot about that one, respectfully. So right after the Matt Gaetz report came out today, listen to what Donald Trump had to say about Matt Gaetz yesterday.
A friend of mine who I haven't seen in a little while, Matt Gaetz, is here. Where's Matt? He's around here someplace. Matt Gaetz. He's got a big career set up. And just want to say hello to Matt. And
he's got a big career set up. The guy who literally paid an underage girl for sex and paid tens of thousands of dollars for drugs in a 3 to 4 year span in Congress, by the way. He's got a big career. Well, I hate to admit it, but I think, Mr. President-elect, you're probably right. Within the Republican Party, if you pay underage women for sex, it'll probably help your career. He just got a job at Newsmax. So maybe the President-elect is correct. I don't know. Maybe he is. Now, Kari Lake is 0 for 2 running. She's a complete clown with zero credibility. But that's what Donald Trump does. He tries to give people credibility like the Matt Gaetzes of the world, who pay women for underage for sex. Here's Donald Trump praising Kari Lake.
I think I see Kari Lake. Is that Kari Lake? Yes. Hi, Kari. Stand up, Kari. Fine. Hi. Good job. Worked hard. She's a good woman, and she's going to be doing something very big, maybe bigger. It's a big one that you have, so good luck with it. You're going to do well. You're going to turn that around like nobody ever saw before, so thank you very much for accepting it.
She's a good woman, a good, wholesome Christian woman. Yeah, okay, Donnie, whatever you say. Oh, boy, what a joke that entire AmFest was. You know, people like Rob Schneider up there. People like Jack Posobiec. By the way, Jack Posobiec, I'm not even going to play the cuts, but it's Jack Posobiec saying that Derek Chauvin did nothing wrong and he's an innocent man, because that really shocks me, ladies and gentlemen, that the MAGA Republicans and the white supremacist sympathizers out there, like the Jack Posobiecs of the world, would put somebody up on a pedestal who's a convicted murderer who killed a black man. What a shocker. Just like the Daniel Pennies of the world and the Kyle Rittenhouses of the world and the McCloskeys of the world. Jack Posobiec up on a stage being championed for saying nice things about a convicted murderer who was once a police officer who killed a black man. That's what this AmFest was all about. White supremacy defending white murderers, attacking transgenders, attacking the gay community, attacking one side of the aisle, praising people like Matt Gaetz and Kerry Lake and others. That's what this entire AmFest was. Donald Trump did win, but my question to you is, it doesn't bother you, doesn't seem to bother you at all that Donald Trump, of all the people he could have chose, you're an attorney, David, all the people that he chose, that he wanted to be the attorney general, he decided to choose Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
That type of decision making.
I was excited about the pick, and this is going to upset you. You're going to be like, what are you saying? Right. And this is going to be one of those viral clips. I do my best to avoid viral clips from your show. But I was excited when Matt Gaetz was picked because as a MAGA Republican, we are sick and tired of the do nothing traditional type establishment Republicans.
Matt Gaetz hasn't passed one bill.
Do you
He's the definition of do nothing.
Do you know what kind of AG he would have been? He would have done all the things that we've been begging
David,
for.
you just said you don't like people who do nothing establishment Republicans.
Right.
That's exactly who Matt Gaetz is.
Matt Gaetz is not a do nothing establishment Republican.
What bill has he passed? Name me one bill.
I don't know his legislative record.
Because it's zero. He hasn't passed one bill. He's been a congressman for years. He didn't pass one bill. He's the exact definition of what you're talking about. The Jim Jordans of the world. That's who he is.
Well, look, I don't know about his legislative record.
He doesn't have one.
I am sure he has drafted bills that maybe haven't passed. He's led committees. He does a lot of real. Look, Matt Gaetz. The fact that we're talking about Matt Gaetz, you can say he's a do nothing, whatever you said he was. But the thing is, you know who he is, right? Everybody knows who Matt Gaetz is.
Yeah, a bad guy who does drugs and gets prostitutes.
That's what's been alleged. What I'm saying is he has made a name for himself being very effective in Washington, D.C. and being a leader in Washington. Definitely made a name for himself. I agree with you there. He's definitely made a name for himself, just like George Santos has made a name for himself and some other of these Republicans who I think are disgraceful human beings, whether it's stealing from your campaign or whether it's buying drugs and coming up with these fake emails from your work office or these sex parties or the Madison Cawthorns of the world. What if it was somebody on the left that did the exact same thing? Like Diddy, where Kamala
Diddy's
Harris
not
used
a politician.
No, but a politician.
What?
Barack Obama, Kamala Harris has been to his parties.
Okay, so you're claiming if somebody goes to a party, okay, let's go with that for a moment, please.
We know what happened at the Diddy parties, right?
Let's go with that. By the way,
everybody knew what happened at the Diddy parties.
Let's be clear here. If it's guilty by association, the guy who you voted for, Jeffrey Epstein said was one of his best friends.
But yet Donald Trump never went to Epstein Island.
How do you know that?
Where Bill Clinton has, because he said he's never been there.
If it's guilty by association, then
what's
let's
the
go with
association?
that.
Because they know him? Trump knows a lot of people.
You mean to tell me on tape that man who killed himself allegedly?
I agree with that allegedly all day long. Yeah.
Donald Trump was one of his best friends.
Right.
In the Maxwell trial, they said that Trump was on the flight log at a minimum of 7 times. But you want to bring up Barack Obama or Kamala Harris, who allegedly went to one of his parties, insinuating that Harris or Obama committed crimes, which, by the way, there is zero evidence.
I didn't say they committed crime.
But you're saying guilty by association.
No, I'm not saying guilt by association. That was your word. Guilt by association was your word.
Why would you bring up Puff Daddy, who's never been a politician
before? You were talking about these parties, and I said other politicians have been to similar parties. That was what the comparison was.
I'm talking about an elected official.
Right.
Who took drugs, illegal drugs, who had sex with women for money, and allegedly had sex with an underage girl. Nothing that Kamala Harris or Obama have ever done in their life, they have ever been accused of. Any of that
Obama has done illegal drugs. He admitted to it. He wrote a book about it.
Not when he was a politician in office and paid by the taxpayers. That's the difference. Do you not see the difference, David?
Look, I think that I don't know how much of the allegations. Again, there has been no opportunity for Matt Gaetz to defend himself against any other than being subpoenaed by a committee who was out to get him. This isn't the process where you can defend yourself. It's guilt because they say so. So I'm not going to assume for a second that anything in this is true beyond a reasonable doubt, even
and
beyond.
Why doesn't that apply to Hunter Biden? Why doesn't it apply? I had
what do
the
you mean,
guy
why
on,
doesn't apply?
I had a guy on yesterday who broke the laptop story, a complete nimrod. And you know, the claims of he has sex with underage girls, never been proven anywhere.
Right.
All this stuff on the laptop that has not been proven in a court of law anyway. So why doesn't that apply to somebody like Hunter Biden? We've heard Joe Biden.
What do you mean it doesn't apply?
The Biden crime family. Nobody has shown any evidence that Joe Biden has committed any crimes at all, but yet so many on the far right call them the Biden crime family, and Joe Biden did this, he did that, he's a pedophile, he did this, when nothing has been proven. But yet when we talk about Matt Gaetz, you could certainly show a lot more evidence of crimes that Matt Gaetz committed than anything Joe Biden's done in his life. Why doesn't it apply to the other side?
Well, look, and I can't speak for, I don't speak on behalf of everybody on the right. And I don't know. Now, I probably have flippantly said things about the Biden crime family, but I've never did a show on Hunter Biden. I've never. I'm
not saying you, David.
Yeah, well, I can only speak for me. So no, I try to apply the same standards across the board. And you and I have spoken about Hunter in the past, where I think on our last show where we were talking about his pardoning, and I didn't have a problem with it. And
let me reemphasize that I'm not specifically
fair.
I understand. I'm not specifically talking about. I'm not specifically talking about you when it comes to Hunter Biden. Just the MAGA right in general.
Great. Yeah, I actually woke up this morning and Laura Loomer was texting me that she was suspended by Musk. So I was like, "Well, what a way to start the day, right?"
What else did she say to you? Because I hate to defend her, because I you know how I feel about her, right? I don't think she's the nicest, most credible person in the world. But I am defending her here, Ron, because she didn't swear. She didn't threaten Elon Musk. She's doing what anybody does and should have the right to do, and that is criticize somebody. What is she making of all of this?
Yeah, I mean, she thinks it's like, look, she was banned from all social media platforms for 3 years. So she's a little sensitive in this area because this is what she does for a living.
Right.
You know, this is what she does for a job. And so when you get banned off all tech platforms, and look, they had very good reasons for banning her. Okay. I'm not saying I had any issue with it, but when you finally get reinstated by the guy, and then, you know, the first time you criticize him, he suspends you. And you know, worse than that, you know, he suspended her, but that's nothing. What he did is he took away her subscriptions, because people subscribe through X to monetized accounts. She's a monetized account that had a decent number of subscriptions. She's also opted into that where you get paid by the engagement. You know, she does that too. So she's out of that now. Took away her blue check, you know, which also tamps down engagement. So he basically like pretty much nuked her, and not just her. You know, it was a lot of people that got it on the right, which shows, you know, now we're just talking about how Musk handled it on social media, not the issue itself. But yeah, I think that this one's going to be hard for him to recover from. They won't forget this. And I can tell you, I just watched Steve Bannon's show a little earlier, and the whole show is just flaming Musk. Just everybody, all of his guests are coming on and just trashing Musk, one right after the other. And these are people with like millions of followers, you know.
Ron, he's not even the president yet, and we're already talking about a possible split from MAGA. I didn't think it was going to happen this fast. But what you're talking about, we're talking about a lot of money. Listen, say what you want about Laura Loomer. She makes a lot of money on social media. Sure. This is a big deal financially for a lot of these people. I'm not saying I feel sorry for her, but what exactly is he? Do you think it was just one of those situations, Ron, where he just spoke to some of the people that work for him that are running X and said, okay, do this, this, and this? Was it that simple for Elon? Where is that simple?
Well, because he does it all the time. I mean, he suspends and unsuspends people constantly who make either say something bad about him, criticize Tesla, or, you know, post a video of one of his cars crashing or something. He does this all the time, but not like this, where it's like 100 people that all have minimum 100,000 followers, some over 1 million, who have been Musk supporters, and just across the board, just doing this to him. And, you know, she was the only one that was suspended, and he also singled her out and went after her. But, here's the point. Laura, everyone in Trump's orbit doesn't want him to have anything to do with Laura Loomer, right? They don't like her. The people around, except for Jason Miller, most of the people around him don't like her and want to keep her away from him. But that is not how Trump feels. Trump has always liked Loomer. And the reason is Loomer is real. Loomer is genuine. Loomer's not a fraud in terms of she worships the ground he walks on like he's a god. Mm-hmm. And that's a real thing. Like, she's not BSing like a lot of them. She's not playing games just to get a job or just a grift.
Right.
This is really who she is. Mm-hmm. Right. So Trump, I think, gets that. And he respects her for that. That in other words, like, everyone in his orbit all wants something from him, and he gets it that it's all transactional, but with her, it's not transactional.
I think what you just said, Ron, is 100% accurate. Like, I think of people like Leo Terrell or a Candace Owens or even a Charlie Kirk. I even think some of the things they say, a lot of the things they say are not genuine and they don't actually believe them. I agree with you on with Laura Loomer when it comes to this. I believe she does worship him, and it's not fake and it's not phony. And I agree with you on that. So we'll have to see how this thing plays out. But